What's up, guys? It's Dwayne, back again for another video, back in for a reaction. Today's a great, wonderful, amazing, incredible, delicious day because it's a Germany day. Germany partially decriminalizes cannabis. Without further ado, let's get into this reaction. Let's go.
Germany next, and from today, people there can legally smoke cannabis in public. Hundreds of people filled Berlin's Brandenburg Gate at midnight for a smoke-in as the new law came into effect.
Wait, okay, this is actually real, guys. What? That's wild to me. Hold up, wait a minute. So you guys can smoke weed now in public without getting... That's... Wow. How do you feel? I really would like to know how you feel. Like, all of you. Like, all demographics. Because I know you guys who subscribe to me from all walks of life in Germany. And how do you feel about this new decriminalization of cannabis in your country? Clearly, a lot of people are happy. But how do you feel? Obviously, the Netherlands have something similar. Is it a similar law to the Netherlands? I just need to know more. This is big.
The part decriminalisation follows decades of contentious debate in Germany. The rules around medical marijuana are also being relaxed. Our Berlin correspondent Jessica Parker reports now from the city of Dresden.
It's out in the open. Adults in Germany can now possess up to 25 grams of cannabis in public, enough to make dozens of joints, and grow up to 3 plants at home.
Wow.
While people like Marcel are planning newly permitted cannabis social clubs. Not for tourists, though, just German residents.
Every gram from cannabis, which goes from the Cannabis Social Club, is 1 gram that's not on the black market.
What do you say to people who say, look, cannabis is addictive and it is harmful, especially to young people?
Everything have dark sides, and you have to know about the dark sides, and only when it's not illegal you can free talk about these dark sides.
It's an interesting concept, isn't it? Cannabis. My stance on it is that, I mean, alcohol's legal. Alcohol's legal, and alcohol actually kills people, right? People, you know, alcohol is responsible for a lot of violence. Cannabis, arguably, never heard of anyone on cannabis going and committing violent crimes because of cannabis. However, me personally, I'm not a smoker. I don't like it. It doesn't affect me well. It affects my psyche. It makes me paranoid. I don't like it. I like to have a sound mind and have a clear mind. But I don't think decriminalizing cannabis is a bad thing for many reasons. Number one, I feel like if you decriminalize cannabis, there's less incentive for people to go out and sell drugs illegally and be involved in criminality. It takes that off the street. It also frees up prison space for people that are in there for selling cannabis. And, you know, your taxes go to, I'm guessing your taxes go towards, you know, providing them with a roof over their head, and who wants that? Number two, I think that cannabis being legalized isn't a bad thing if you look at the countries where it's legal, right? So you have Amsterdam, you have Netherlands, and you have, or legal kind of ish, legal, liberal. You have Thailand. You have parts of the western parts of America. And if you look at those places, actually decriminalizing cannabis hasn't really caused an outbreak of people smoking loads of weed. Do you know what I mean? Like, it actually does the opposite, actually. Actually, like, consumption of weed goes down because it's no longer that taboo. It's not a taboo thing anymore. People just, they're just like, well, you can just get it now. Kids especially as well. If you tell a kid you can't do something, if you take something away from the kid, they want to do it more. They want to do it more. They're like, I want to. My mum said I can't smoke this cannabis because it does this to me. I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it anyways. where there's a will, there's a way. But when you decriminalize it, but then regulate it and treat it like almost like cigarettes, you know, with cigarettes packets, they have the warning sign on the cigarette packets. There's a lot less people smoking cigarettes now because we know the health effects of it, and it's better for it to be regulated than for it to be freely available from drug dealers and criminality and criminals selling it on the street. And it's not. And we know I'm just keep talking, guys. I'm sorry. And we know the levels as well. It can be regulated in the terms of THC. We'll know how much THC is inside. The psycho. THC is like the part that makes you high, basically. You can, like, if it's done where it's regulated, then instead of purchasing weed and it being like super strong, you can know what strain you have, how strong it is, and I just think it's a good thing, guys, for you lot. I think it's really good, and I hope in the UK we follow suit.
But these cannabis clubs in cities like Dresden won't pop up overnight and come with their own rules, exacerbating fears that demand will quickly outstrip legal supply.
We assume that the black market will be strengthened, particularly at the beginning in the chaos phase, when demand will be great because of the signal this law sends.
Right.
The black market and criminal networks will adapt, and they will also infiltrate the social clubs.
It's a high security class you can buy.
Into the highly secure halls of a medical cannabis grower, who are also seeing some deregulation.
Cannabis will not be a narcotic anymore in Germany. It will be just as any other pharmaceutical product, which makes it much more easier for patients to get it from a doctor and to get it from the pharmacy.
Okay.
They keep this room at around 23 degrees, but it's also really quite humid. Now, there are 650-ish plants in this room, and they are almost ready to be harvested.
And the psychoactive substance is...
The benefits of medical cannabis are debated, while the relaxation around recreational use has been contentious. This is an argument in Germany that likely hasn't yet reached full maturity.
Right.
Jessica Parker, BBC News in Dresden.
Can I just say another thing that I missed out when I was doing my long rant at the beginning? Tax. You can tax. What that'll do for your economy must be great. Like, you can tax it like you tax cigarettes and and alcohol. I think you tax as well. The tax will make a lot of money, so that's another thing. Tourism. That's another positive. The amount of people that will come to Germany from other parts of Europe, not just the Netherlands, they'll come to Germany, like England. Like, we're literally across the pond. The amount of people that will go to Germany just to, recreationally smoke weed. It's a lot of people. Not me personally. I'm going to Germany just to see Germany. But, yeah, tourism is going to go up. There's a lot of benefits to legalising it. A lot.
Well, I've been getting more reaction to this story from Steve Rolls. He's a senior policy analyst at Transform Drugs Foundation. That's a charity that works to create what it says is a just and effective system of legal regulation for all drugs. He told me what he thought of this move by Germany.
I think it's very significant. I mean, a number of countries in Europe have been making this move. Germany's not the first. Malta actually changed its law in 2021. Luxembourg changed their laws in 2022. We've also seen famously sort of historic reforms in the Netherlands, and Switzerland and Czech Republic are also doing it. So
wow, I didn't know
Germany's
about those
actually
two.
at the part of a wave of reforms that are sweeping across Europe. But I think perhaps it's the most politically significant, just really because of its political significance within the European Union and within the world. So when Germany does something, I think people are going to take notice. It's 100 times bigger in population terms than either Luxembourg or Malta. And it's very hard to ignore. They're a serious actor within Europe, and they're a serious player on the global stage. So,
I absolutely agree. I didn't even think about that. You guys are a huge European country. People do look to you. Like, it's significant. It's like the UK. If we decided to do it before you did, it would change things in Europe as well. Like, people look like, oh my God, the UK have done it. Like that, it's a big deal. Germany does it, it's a big deal. If France did it, it would be a big deal. We are big countries. We are influential countries on the world stage. And why it's important as a Brit reacting to this is that for us as British people, like Germany, you guys are our closest relatives, as you know, in terms of like the historical ties between the countries, right? You're basically a brother country to the UK, and you guys doing this really, really does put pressure on our government to actually start thinking about doing the same. So this is massive. This is huge. This is monumental. This is why the BBC is reporting on it. I'm happy. I'm happy in the sense of not because I want to smoke weed, because I don't. Like I said, it doesn't agree with me. But I think it's a good thing. I don't like the drug dealer culture, the backstreet culture, just that vibe is just not. I don't like it. I think it needs to die a death. I think we could do with the taxes, we could do with the money, the tourism that would come from legalizing weed. Yeah, I just think
it's a very big deal, and I'm sure that the impacts of this are going to ripple around Europe and the world.
So do you think there will be more countries looking to Germany and perhaps legalizing cannabis going forward?
Yes, I mean, undoubtedly. We're seeing, you know, 10 years ago, nowhere in the world had actually formally legalized and regulated adult use recreational cannabis. And today there's 45 or so jurisdictions around the world, and more than 500 million people are living in jurisdictions that are in the process of or have already implemented legal access to recreational cannabis. So clearly there's a trend here. There's a growing movement, and I think Germany just represents growing momentum in that direction. I think other countries are going to look at what happens in Germany and other countries, see that whilst it may not be ideal, it's certainly better than the obvious failings of prohibition and the war on drugs, and they're going to be thinking, well, we should be considering this. You know,
absolutely, guys. I don't know if you guys know, I live in Thailand temporarily. I'm moving back soon, actually, to the UK. In Thailand, what I've witnessed in terms of, you know, like drug use, not drug use, sorry, cannabis use. They legalized cannabis last year. I think it was last year. And what I've witnessed is the tourists do come and they smoke weed. The locals, not bothered. They don't really smoke weed. Not bothered at all. It purely fuels the economy. It purely fuels travel. It purely fuels, you know, the tax income for the country, the economy. There's not been a rise in crime or violent crime or anything like that. It's been quite peaceful, and there are like cannabis stores and weed cafes and all sorts of places all over Thailand, and Thailand hasn't changed. So I don't know, for me it's a positive thing. Like, honestly, guys, like, your country's going to benefit from it. I personally believe, from what I've witnessed from Thailand, in the sense of tourism has, after COVID, like, exploded over here. So Germany, yeah, it's very clever. It's very, very clever. Because I'm telling you now, British people, especially the ones, and there are a lot of British people that smoke cannabis or use cannabis for medical reasons, you're going to get an influx of Brits coming over. You're going to have a lot of Brits coming over, as well as other countries in Europe as well.
We may not like the fact that people use cannabis, but they do. They do. And we have a choice. True. We can either leave that market in the hands of organised crime groups and unregulated dealers, or we can try and regulate it within the ambit of the state and try and reduce the harms that cannabis can cause to individual users and to the wider community. And Germany have been very clear that it's a public health measure and a community safety measure.
Yes, although some doctors there are saying that the liberalisation is actually going to fuel drug use.
No.
Well, I mean, that hasn't really been the experience in countries that have made this move already.
Exactly.
There's been reforms of different natures. It's quite difficult to generalise because different countries have taken very different approaches. Mm-hmm. But in Canada, for example, use has gone up marginally, but not, interestingly, amongst youth, which is where a lot of the concerns are focused. But of course,
There you go. As I was saying, not with the young people. Because when you say to a young person, you cannot do this, that thing you said you cannot do as a parent, you say to your kid, don't do that. It's really, really bad. Don't do that. And you see your peers doing it, you want to do it more. It's rebellious. Oh, this must be something that I should try because my parents don't want me to do it. When it's available, it's no longer cool. You know, it's no longer the cool thing to do. If there's cannabis stores everywhere, you can walk into a shop and purchase it. It's like, is it, you know? Like, people don't, like, yeah. I'm not surprised it hasn't gone up in Canada for young people. It makes absolute sense. Anyways.
Use has been rising for decades. Use of cannabis has been rising for decades under prohibition, under the war on drugs. So,
exactly,
you know, there's not really any evidence that a punitive enforcement approach can somehow eradicate drug use or eradicate markets. So this is a pragmatic position that deals with reality, that there is demand for these drugs. And if it's not met through some legally regulated, responsible government system, it will be met anyway through an illegal market controlled by organised crime groups. Absolutely. So you might want to look at it as a least worst option, but it's a pragmatic one, and more governments are going down that road. It's
responsible. It is the responsible thing to do, and it should have been regulated a long time ago. Like, it baffles me that it hasn't been regulated and it hasn't been taken control of in the UK. UK annoys me about things like that, you know, to do with like cannabis, to do with like what else is there that they don't like, crypto, Bitcoin and all that type of stuff. They haven't, you know, they're the last country to kind of start like properly regulating it properly, and it's just I don't know. We're always last. We're risk averse, but sometimes that's not a good thing. Yeah, so I'm it's very forward thinking of Germany to be the first big country in Europe to do this, you know. And I didn't even know it was in the pipeline. Like, guys, did you know that this was happening? I heard nothing about this until recently, and wow, good on you. That's very interesting. Get ready for a lot of British people coming to Germany on tour. I cannot wait to go to Germany like in a year's time and see how Germany has changed. Be prepared, because I've seen it in Thailand. I actually saw it as it was being, as the law came in. I saw the way the country just changed in terms of a lot of vacant, empty shops and places that were empty because of COVID. You know, people lost their businesses. Those vacant places turned into cannabis cafes, cannabis dispensaries, and I think in the UK as well, I've seen in the UK there's still a lot of vacant shop fronts, and I'm sure it's the same in Germany. Those, be prepared for them to change into dispensaries and cafes. And we'll see. I know it's going to be heavily debated for a while, and there'll be a lot of pushback. But let's see in a year's time how things are. I'm definitely going to revisit this, and I'm going to be visiting Germany, and I can't wait to actually, you know, visit the cafes. Not smoke, because I'm not a smoker, but have a look. Guys, thank you very much for watching. Until the next one, I will see you very soon. It's going to be very interesting. That's it.